Good morning. 10:24 here, 11:24 up there, so it's still morning. I don't have a lot to talk about today. It gets to a point where you keep saying the same thing over and over again and you realize people aren't listening. So what do? Anyhow, they start to refer to the President of the United States as leader of the free world. If Trump gets elected, it won't be a free world. I wouldn't be surprised if he did invite Putin and some federal Russian troops to his inauguration because he was afraid the American army couldn't protect him, or Musk. And that'd be a sad thing to see, Maybe then people would begin to realize that he's not up there and you think you're going to get the things you want, but you'll have to pay a price. You're not going to get the things you want, but you are going to pay the price. That's the way he works, okay? Remember this, if he isn't making money out of this thing, he's not going to do it. He's running for president because he doesn't want to go to jail, because he has a lot of charges, various charges against him, and if he loses the election, the SEC is going to be looking at him, his stock manipulation with the Truth Social and everything else like that. He's going to get caught if he doesn't win the election. So yeah, he's going to cheat. He's cheating now, and he's telling you that if he loses the election, it's a fraud. The American people are, I'm under the wrong impression. I thought Americans were smart. And this isn't the way it's going. Americans are proving they're dumb, bordering on stupid. But remember this. It won't be a free world, and he won't be the leader. Okay? Just remember that part. And a spokesman for Trump says Trump is right about Cheney sending people to war rather than going in herself. Let me ask you a question, Donnie. You remember a little thing called the Vietnam War and the draft and everything, and you went out and how many deferments did you get for bone spurs that you show absolutely no sign of, and apparently have had no surgery to fix it? So that's a miracle within itself. I wonder how much you had to pay the doctor. I would have paid anything to not get drafted. You know that? But I couldn't afford to pay anything. But so I looked around and I said, well, I don't want to go into this war. I don't like this war. This war is all about greed. It's not about patriotism. I mean, we can't, and the experts in guerrilla warfare and whatnot said we couldn't win a war where we have a supply line that's 6,000 miles long, which is what it was to Vietnam from the United States. So I sat there and I studied all this, and I said, well, what are my options here? And my options were leave the country, basically be a deserter, leave the country and go to Canada or someplace else. And I really wasn't into that either. I didn't want to leave my family and friends behind. So I said, what else can I do? So I joined a National Guard outfit in New Jersey, and went through basic training and everything like that. Stayed in it for 6 years. Could have got out early because one, my father passed away and I was sole support, and two, I had a bad back, but I didn't. I stayed in. I thought it was ridiculous. I mean, I had a company command. We watched a black and white movie about medics in the armory one day, the whole unit sitting there, and my company commander fainted at the sight of blood. Now the blood was black, okay, it wasn't red, it was black. So, but he fainted He fainted at the sight of blood. And he's a captain in that Army National Guard. And he was our commander. And I got to tell you something. I said right then and there that if they ever call us up, I'm going to join the Marines or something. I'm not going in with this outfit. No matter whatever I have to do to get out of this outfit, if they federalize it, I'm going to do. Because there's no way in hell I'm going to go to Vietnam with these boys. You know, they were a ridiculous group of people. I ended up in Newark during the riots, but more as a civilian than as a National Guardsman. A civilian volunteer to help get people's cars out of there because they were afraid to go down and get them. And the National Guard was the most untrained outfit I've ever seen in my life where that was concerned. There's a way to handle violence and whatnot, and I'm not an expert at it by any shape or form, but what we knew in the Guard wasn't going to work. You know, you saw it in Ohio when I forget the name of the college, but when the Guard opened fire, these guys never got charged. They all got away with it. But they kneeled down and aimed and fired. This was not random fire. They knew what they were shooting at, and they killed some people out there, some innocent people who were just protesting the war in Vietnam. That's what you're going to see a lot of if Trump gets elected, because that's what he wants to do. He wants to send the military in, and they're not going to stand there and get, especially if they're National Guardsmen, they're not going to stand there and get yelled at and be called all these names and have eggs and feces and everything else thrown at them and not lose control. You know, not even the New York Police Department, which is some of the best trained riot control people in the world, could take that for very long. Okay, they're going to react. Now, if they have guns, they're going to shoot. And the National Guard's not going in there with police batons. They're going to go in there with guns. You know. And these guys they had basically very little riot control training. I got a ton of it afterwards and thought it wasn't going to work either in certain situations. And I thought that only because of my commanders. Okay, the lieutenants and whatnot that were in charge of our unit were just not military people. Again, you know. One guy hid in the tent, you know, and stayed there. We had one that was an ex-police officer, or was a current police officer, and he was pretty good. But he knew what to do, but again, you're trying to control it and still listen to a bunch of people. These guys in my unit were basically stockbrokers. They bought their way into their unit. I got in because I asked a friend of mine to put my name in for me, and he did. And he wasn't there. He worked in a gas station. He was a gas station attendant. So no, he didn't have a lot of influence. But they needed people to do the work in this outfit, and I could do the work. And that's basically what I did. You had a bunch of guys that had trouble tying their shoelaces, and then there was a few of us that were in the field and in mechanics and whatnot, and we turned out, kept the equipment running. Not easy, but we did. What else is going on? You got football tomorrow, then you have, I don't know how many people are going to watch Monday Night Football this week, where with the election being the next day, I think there's going to be a lot of last minute things, going on. There's 68 million people or so that have already voted. Did you see Trump going around trying to disavow some of these votes? So I guess people are voting for Kamala on the early side. I don't know. This is people are nervous. They're nervous. Even the MAGAs are getting nervous about going to rallies and stuff like that because Trump is inciting violence. Now I remember when and there is laws on the books. You can see this one in Arizona. This one district attorney is checking into it to see if he can be charged with inciting violence by or even attempted murder by asking the crowd, he's not asking, he's saying, I don't know how he put it, but he worded it in a way that's what's going to keep him out of jail about Liz Cheney and putting her basically in front of a firing squad. It's a sad state of affairs. I mean, it's like I read articles that say they were trying to figure out why the Supreme Court justices are appointed for life, and there was a there was a situation where they couldn't explain it, and they thought they were doing a good job by it. They wanted to take the political pressure out of the court. The political pressure is there. It's all about politics now. It's not about who's good or who's bad, who's wrong or who's right. Who's got the money? Look at Justice Thomas. This guy's got more gifts than anybody I know. And they're all saying, well, it's okay, because the Republicans control the Congress. Now, if it turns around and the Democrats can get the control, then maybe you'll find out that he's impeached. But that's very difficult to impeach a justice at that level. That's because they're supposed to be smart. Thomas isn't smart. Thomas should never have gotten in due to the sexual harassment charges that were laid against him. All right, he should never have been in there. Now, I'm not so sure about the history of all the other justices in there, whether they're Democrats or Republicans. Do they belong in there? I don't know. Did they do stuff bad? Probably. Everybody does something bad in their life, There's no such thing as a goody two-shoes, as they used to call her. Oh, excuse me. Oh, here we go. In the old days, but that's what goes on, Now listen, I believe that at the bottom of this video, when it appears on YouTube, there's a subscribe button. Now I haven't tried that because I can't subscribe to my own videos. Won't let me do it. Otherwise I would have done it already. But do me a favor. If you see it, it's on the bottom left hand underneath the video. If you see a subscribe button there, tap that subscribe button for me, would you? I'm not looking to get rich on this thing. I'm not looking to make any money. I doubt I'll get enough subscriptions to make money. But what it does do is it moves me up the ladder a little bit in the YouTube placement of my videos and whatnot. It makes it a little easier for people to get a hold of mine. And people like my videos for either because they think I'm stupid and I'm doing this, or they think that I'm hilarious and I'm doing this. I don't know. I don't think I'm funny. Every once in a while, about once every year, I come up with a really super funny line, and then, that's it, It's like, I forgot I was at a basketball game and yelled something out, and the whole crowd went nuts, and I tried it a second time and nobody said anything. It's just the way it works. There are one-liners that work once and then that's it. They don't work again. But I'm worried, and I guess that's why I'm a little nervous doing these things now, because I'm worried, because I don't think anybody's watching them, and I'm afraid that I'm not doing any good for Kamala and Waltz, and I really want to see them win. Does this country have problems? Yes. But Trump is bringing problems. He's not curing problems. Bigotry, racism, vengeance, these aren't things that are going to help the country, okay? Donald doesn't... I've said this so many times, and you just have to look and see. He's not going to do anything unless it purely benefits him. He's a narcissist. That's what they do. He has no empathy for anybody. He doesn't even care about his own family. Let's be serious, okay? They're not jumping up and down this time for him because they know it's going to be bad. His daughter knows that her business is shot as soon as he gets elected and starts pulling some of his because she's not going to be able to afford to sell the products she's making because she's not going to be able to afford the materials, because the materials are going to be tariffed to death. You don't understand. First of all, you don't have to be an economist to understand what he's going to do to us, okay? You don't have to be a lawyer to understand what he's going to do to civil rights, what he's going to do to human rights. I think our biggest problem, the fact that we have let in so many people, is that these people don't like other people. You know, and we have created an imbalance in our manufacturing and whatnot, and now we want white people have found another person to blame, you know, Latinos or whatever. No. Come on. You know? That's like we blamed all Muslims for the 9/11, and those people basically came out of Saudi Arabia. They were financed by Saudi Arabian money. And that's just, you know, you can look it up and you can trace it, and you can say there's a good possibility I'm telling the truth. I don't know if it's 100% accurate what I'm saying, okay? Remember now, I don't use a lot of facts except to make me look things up and something like that, you know, because it's my opinion. That's just the way I feel. I look at something and I say, how can you not see this, you know? Makes me crazy. All right, listen, it's Saturday. Have a good day. I don't know if there's any Halloween parties scheduled for today, because we had ours on Halloween down here. So, but anyhow, you guys take care of yourselves. I'll see you tomorrow pre-football.